Jerome Carrotwell has a problem, a very large, very loud problem. See, Jerome Carrotwell runs the Carrot Reserve, the institution that controls the flow of carrots through the entire U.S. rabbit world economy. And for doing exactly the job he was hired to do, he's now staring down a full criminal investigation from the Department of Justice. His crime? Not handing over the carrot printer to Uncle Dale. Oh, and also, allegedly, lying to Congress about a renovation project. One that started before he even showed up to work. You heard that right. A building renovation. That's the official grounds for investigating the most powerful economic official in the rabbit world. This feud between Jerome Carrotwell and Uncle Dale has been simmering since 2018. Nasty tweets, public insults, threats of lawsuits that everyone assumed were bluster. But a few weeks ago, Uncle Dale stopped bluffing. The DOJ filed a criminal investigation. Grand jury subpoenas landed. Jerome Carrotwell found himself in the crosshairs. And instead of going quiet, Carrotwell did something remarkable. He fired back publicly and said the quiet part very, very out loud. But why does any of this matter to the rest of us? And what happens to the carrot in your pocket if the Carrot Reserve stops being independent? That's what this video is about. Before we get into the feud, let's quickly cover what the Carrot Reserve actually does. Because this is where things get interesting. The Carrot Reserve has been around since 1913. It's not part of the government, exactly. It was designed to sit outside of politics, like a referee who doesn't play for either team. Its job is keeping the rabbit world economy stable, prices under control, employment up, carrot supply not going haywire, and the main lever it uses? Interest rates. Think of the Carrot Reserve like a temperature dial for the whole economy. When the economy overheats, prices climbing, carrots getting more expensive, the Carrot Reserve turns up interest rates to cool things down. Borrowing gets pricier. Mortgages cost more. Businesses slow down hiring. The economy stops running so hot. When the economy goes cold, jobs disappearing, rabbits not spending, the Carrot Reserve drops rates to warm things back up. Cheap loans flow. Rabbits buy homes. Businesses invest. Carrots move. But here's the crucial part. The dial is supposed to be set based on economic data, not based on what any particular politician wants. That's by design. Letting politicians run the carrot printer? Terrible idea. Except when corporal rabbits call it lobbying, I guess, but that's for another video. Now, this is where Uncle Dale enters the picture. Uncle Dale picked Jerome Carrotwell for the job back in 2018. Bipartisan support. Big confirmation ceremony. Everyone applauded. The honeymoon lasted about 11 minutes. See, every time the Carrot Reserve raised interest rates during Veldendel's first term, Uncle Dale went to his golden phone and started typing. He compared Carrotwell to a golfer who couldn't sink a putt. He demanded rate cuts weekly. He said things that Rabbit won't repeat here for legal reasons. Carrotwell didn't flinch. Come Uncle Dale's second term in 2025, the demands escalated. He wanted rates slashed to 1%. Rates were sitting at 3.75%. That's not a rate cut. That's practically a full-scale economic reset during a period of rising prices and shaky consumer confidence. Carrotwell refused. Again, in one congressional hearing, he said something that would later sound almost prophetic. Our decisions come from the data, not from political pressure. 6 months later, the DOJ arrived at his door. So what exactly is the official reason for the investigation? A building renovation. Specifically, the Carrot Reserve's headquarters, which has been undergoing a multi-billion carrot renovation. The DOJ claims Carrotwell lied to Congress about the costs, called it the most expensive construction project per square foot in the history of the rabbit world. Strong words coming from the rabbit who just renovated his own personal ballroom at public expense. Ouch! Here's what actually happened. The renovation was originally budgeted at 1.9 billion carrots. The current estimate is 2.5 billion. Yes, that's higher. But the building hadn't been touched since the 1930s. We're talking asbestos. Lead. Prohibition-era construction buried in the walls. Stuff that can't just be patched over. Add a global supply chain meltdown that sent steel and lumber prices through the ceiling. And a cost overrun starts looking a lot more like basic arithmetic. But here's the part that makes this whole thing genuinely bizarre. The renovation was approved in 2017. Construction didn't even begin until 2022. Carrotwell didn't authorize this project. He inherited it. Blaming him for this renovation is like prosecuting the second contractor because the first contractor already poured the foundation. Without him, before he was hired. And when Uncle Dale personally visited the Carrot Reserve mid-2025 and pulled a document from his jacket, claiming costs had exploded to 1 billion carrots. Carrotwell corrected him live on camera. Uncle Dale had included a completely separate building, one finished in 2020, to inflate the number. 6 months after getting math checked on national television, the DOJ launched a criminal probe into those exact same numbers. Coincidence? And Carrotwell said as much in his public statement. He called the renovation claims a pretext, said the real target is the Carrot Reserve's independence itself. In other words, this is a shakedown wearing a suit and carrying a briefcase. So, if this isn't really about the renovation, what does Uncle Dale actually want? 2 reasons: cheap borrowing and political optics. First, cheap borrowing. The US rabbit world is sitting on trillions in debt. Every percentage point the Carrot Reserve keeps rates up costs the government billions in interest payments. Slashing to 1% would be a massive windfall. Second, political optics. Low rates make it easier for common rabbits to get home loans, start businesses, spend carrots. Short-term boom. Looks great in a headline. Worry about the inflation hangover later. That's someone else's problem. But here's the problem. Inflation hasn't actually been defeated. No matter what Uncle Dale proclaimed at his triumphant press conference, the average rabbit is still paying more for carrots, electricity bills, rent. Slashing rates to 1% right now wouldn't warm the economy. It would throw a match into the fuel tank. And this is the painful irony of the whole situation. Jerome Carrotwell is doing exactly the job the Senate confirmed him to do, keeping inflation in check, resisting political pressure, and for that, he's being tarred and feathered. That's by design too, just not the design the Carrot Reserve's founders had in mind. Carrotwell isn't facing this alone, at least not yet. Former Carrot Reserve chairs and Treasury officials issued a joint statement calling this an unprecedented attempt to dismantle the institution's independence. Madame Sue Sin, the former Treasury chief, called it a one-way road to a carrot republic. Not to be confused with the Democratic Carrot Republic, our generous channel members, some Senator Rabbits, even on Uncle Dale's side of the Warren, called the investigation exactly what it looks like. And common rabbits are making noise too, flooding social media, calling representatives, following the carrots to see where this is really headed. You can do the same. It's a free rabbit world. For now, at least. Follow the carrots. That's all Rabbit's saying. Because here's what keeps Rabbit up at night. If the Carrot Reserve stops being independent, if it becomes just another arm of whoever's in the Warren, inflation doesn't stay at today's uncomfortable levels. It goes somewhere far worse. The next time you see Uncle Dale and Jerome Carrotwell trading insults in the news, you'll know what's actually being fought over. It's not a personality clash. It's a fight over who controls the thermostat for the entire rabbit world economy. And one of those sets of paws has no interest in reading the temperature. For legal reasons, this video is entirely satire and is about fictional rabbits in a made-up rabbit world. Please do not sue Rabbit. And a massive thank you to the Carrot Republic for keeping these videos alive. You're all genuinely wonderful. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.